You already know the basics. Eat less salt. Watch your fluids. Take your medications. Your doctor has told you this. The pamphlet has told you this. And yet, millions of people with heart failure are still declining, still getting weaker, still ending up back in the hospital. So either the basics are not enough, or there is a piece of the puzzle that nobody is handing you. Because here is what most people do not realize. Heart failure is not just your heart being weak. It is your heart being in a constant state of inflammation, fluid overload, and metabolic stress, every single hour of every single day. And what you eat either feeds that stress or fights it. My name is Dr. Aisha, and I am a senior diet coach with over 2 decades of experience working specifically with cardiac patients. And what I have consistently seen is this. People focus on what to remove from their diet: salt, fat, sugar. But they almost never focus on what to add, and that is exactly where the most powerful protection lives. Because the right foods do not just nourish you, they reduce the fluid retention, they lower the inflammatory signals attacking your already struggling heart, they improve how efficiently your heart muscle actually contracts, and they protect the blood vessels feeding every organ in your body. Today I am going to walk you through 10 foods that most heart failure patients are completely missing. And when you hear why each one matters, you will understand something your cardiologist may never have had time to explain to you. Let us start at the beginning. Number 1. Beets and beet greens. Now you have probably heard beets are good for blood pressure, but here's what most people do not know. Beets are one of the highest sources of dietary nitrates available to you, and in a body with heart failure, that matters enormously. When you eat beets, those nitrates convert into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide tells your arteries to relax and widen. That means your heart does not have to work as hard to push blood through. Think about that for a moment. Your heart is already struggling. Every bit of resistance in your blood vessels is extra work your heart has to do. Beets literally reduce the workload on your heart. There are studies showing that beet juice can improve exercise tolerance in heart failure patients within hours of drinking it. Not weeks, hours. And the greens, the tops of the beets that most people throw away, they are packed with magnesium and potassium. 2 minerals your heart muscle needs to beat with a proper rhythm. Ask yourself, when was the last time beets were on your plate? Number 2. Pumpkin seeds. Small. Cheap. Almost nobody with heart failure is eating them regularly. And that is a serious mistake. Here is why. Pumpkin seeds are one of the richest plant sources of magnesium on the planet, and magnesium deficiency is extraordinarily common in heart failure patients, especially those on diuretics, because diuretics flush magnesium out of your body along with the excess fluid. What does low magnesium do to a failing heart? It worsens arrhythmias. It increases vascular resistance. It makes it harder for your heart muscle to relax between beats, and the relaxation phase is actually where a huge portion of heart failure damage occurs. A small handful of pumpkin seeds every day is not a snack, it is medicine in a shell. Number 3. Sardines. Not the fancy fish, the humble, inexpensive, small fish that most people overlook completely. Sardines are one of the most concentrated sources of omega-3 fatty acids you can find. And omega-3s do something critical in heart failure. They reduce the inflammatory cytokines that are constantly attacking your heart muscle tissue. They also improve the flexibility of your red blood cells, which means better oxygen delivery to your heart even when circulation is compromised. But here's the part most people miss. Sardines are eaten whole, bones and all, and those tiny bones are loaded with calcium. Calcium that supports proper heart muscle contraction. There is research showing that regular omega-3 consumption in heart failure patients reduces hospitalizations and improves survival rates. This is not a supplement commercial. This is whole food doing what whole food was designed to do. Sardines in water, not oil, 2 to 3 times per week. That is all. Number 4. Flax seeds, ground, not whole. Your body cannot break the outer shell of a whole flaxseed. You eat it whole, it passes right through you. You get nothing. Ground flaxseed is a completely different story. Ground flaxseed delivers lignans. plant compounds that have direct anti-inflammatory effects on blood vessel walls. It delivers soluble fiber that lowers LDL cholesterol and stabilizes blood sugar, which in turn reduces the glucose spikes that cause silent inflammation in your arteries. And it delivers ALA, a plant-based omega-3 that your body partially converts into the same protective fats found in fish. For heart failure patients who cannot tolerate fish, ground flaxseed is one of the most important foods on this list. 1 tablespoon in your morning oatmeal. That is it. That one habit can be quietly changing the inflammatory environment your heart is sitting in every single day. Number 5. Lentils. Here is a pattern I have seen repeatedly in my work with cardiac patients. The people who are doing the worst dietarily are almost always the people with the lowest fiber intake. And lentils are one of the most powerful fiber sources in existence. Why does fiber matter so much in heart failure? Because your gut health and your heart health are directly connected. When fiber feeds the right gut bacteria, those bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. Butyrate reduces systemic inflammation. It strengthens the gut barrier, which means fewer inflammatory molecules leaking into your bloodstream and reaching your heart. Beyond that, lentils lower LDL cholesterol through bile acid binding. They slow glucose absorption, which reduces insulin spikes. And they are rich in folate, which lowers homocysteine, an amino acid that in high levels is directly toxic to blood vessel walls. A cup of lentil soup is not comfort food, it is a cardiovascular intervention. Number 6. Walnuts. Your brain is not the only thing walnuts protect. Your heart desperately needs what walnuts contain. Walnuts are the highest plant source of ALA omega-3s among all nuts. They contain L-gitannins, compounds that get converted by your gut bacteria into urolithins, which have shown direct protective effects on heart tissue. They are rich in arginine, which is an amino acid your body uses to produce, you guessed it, nitric oxide. That same arterial relaxation we talked about with beets. But here's the thing about walnuts that most people overlook. They improve endothelial function. Your endothelium is the thin lining of every blood vessel in your body. In heart failure, that lining is damaged and inflamed. Walnuts help repair it. 7 walnuts a day. That is the amount shown in research to produce measurable cardiovascular benefit. 7. That is not a big ask. Number 7. Spinach. Not iceberg lettuce. Not a mixed salad bag from the store. Specifically spinach, and ideally dark, mature spinach, not the baby variety. Spinach is extraordinarily high in dietary nitrates, even higher per gram than beets. We talked about nitric oxide and what it does for your arteries. Spinach is one of the fastest, cheapest ways to flood your system with the raw material your body needs to produce it. Beyond nitrates, spinach is rich in coenzyme Q10 precursors. And CoQ10 is something your heart muscle is almost certainly deficient in if you have heart failure. Your heart cells use CoQ10 to produce energy at the mitochondrial level. Without enough of it, your heart muscle literally cannot generate the energy it needs to contract properly. Spinach also contains thylakoids, compounds that slow fat digestion and improve satiety, which helps prevent the kind of overeating that leads to fluid shifts and acute decompensation. A large handful of spinach every day, cooked or raw, that is a daily gift to your heart. Number 8. Pomegranate. This one surprises people. They think of pomegranate as a luxury fruit, something expensive and seasonal. But what it does for a failing heart is remarkable. Pomegranate is one of the most potent sources of punicalagins, antioxidants so powerful that pomegranate juice has been shown to have 3 times the antioxidant activity of red wine and green tea combined. In heart failure, oxidative stress is one of the primary forces destroying your cardiac cells from the inside. Every time your heart beats inefficiently, reactive oxygen species are produced. Over time, they damage the mitochondria inside your heart cells, they damage your blood vessel walls, they accelerate the remodeling process that makes heart failure progressively worse. Pomegranate directly neutralizes those reactive oxygen species. It also reduces arterial stiffness, which is critical because stiff arteries mean your heart has to push harder with every single beat. a quarter cup of pomegranate seeds, a small glass of pure pomegranate juice with no added sugar. That is enough to begin changing the oxidative environment your heart is living in. Number 9. Oat bran, not instant oats. There is a difference and it matters. Instant oats are processed. The fiber has been partially broken down. You lose much of the benefit. Oat bran is the outer layer of the oat grain, and it is where the real therapeutic power is concentrated. Oat bran is loaded with beta-glucan. Beta-glucan forms a thick gel in your intestines. That gel physically traps cholesterol and bile acids and pulls them out of your body before they can be reabsorbed. It slows the absorption of sugar, dramatically reducing the glucose spikes that cause arterial inflammation. And it feeds the specific strains of gut bacteria most associated with reduced cardiovascular inflammation. For heart failure patients who are also managing high cholesterol and blood sugar, which is the majority, oat bran is one of the most clinically relevant foods on this list. Half a cup of oat bran, cooked in water, every morning. You are building a gel barrier in your gut that protects your heart all day long. Number 10. Unsweetened kefir. This one is almost universally ignored in cardiac nutrition conversations, and it should not be. Here is something most people do not know. A significant percentage of heart failure patients have measurable gut permeability, what is sometimes called leaky gut. When the gut lining is compromised, bacterial endotoxins called lipopolysaccharides leak into the bloodstream, and those endotoxins trigger a cascade of systemic inflammation that directly worsens heart failure outcomes. Kefir is a fermented dairy drink containing dozens of probiotic strains. It does what no probiotic pill can do. It delivers living bacteria in a food matrix with the nutrients those bacteria need to survive and colonize your gut lining. It actively repairs the gut barrier. Beyond probiotics, kefir is rich in vitamin K2. And K2 is the nutrient responsible for directing calcium away from your arterial walls, where it causes calcification and stiffness, and toward your bones where it belongs. In heart failure patients, arterial calcification is one of the most dangerous and underappreciated complications. K2 is one of the few nutritional tools we have to address it directly. One small glass of unsweetened kefir per day, not the flavored, sweetened versions. Plain, unsweetened kefir. Your gut lining and your heart are connected, and this is one of the most direct ways to heal that connection. Now step back for a moment and look at what all 10 of these foods have in common. They are not exotic, they are not expensive supplements, they are not complicated protocols requiring a nutritionist on speed dial. They are whole foods, foods that reduce inflammation, foods that repair blood vessels, foods that lower the resistance your heart has to fight against with every beat, foods that heal your gut so fewer inflammatory signals are reaching your heart, foods that nourish the mitochondria inside your cardiac cells so they can generate energy more efficiently. Heart failure is a disease of constant, cumulative stress on your heart, and most of that stress is invisible. It is happening in your blood vessels, in your gut lining, in your mitochondria, in the inflammatory signals circulating in your bloodstream right now. You cannot feel it, but your heart is responding to it every single moment. The question is not whether food affects your heart. The science on that is settled. The question is what your daily pattern looks like. Not one meal, not one good day. The pattern. What is your heart being exposed to day after day after day? Because heart failure does not get worse from one bad choice. It gets worse from patterns your body repeats without you realizing it. And it gets better, measurably, clinically better, when you replace those patterns with ones that give your heart what it actually needs to function. You already knew food mattered, but now you know specifically what is missing and exactly why it matters. And here at Senior Diet Coach, that is what we are here for. Not to give you a list and leave you, but to help you build the patterns, the daily habits that your heart can actually feel the difference from. If this opens something for you today, there is one more piece that connects everything we talked about. Something that determines whether all of these dietary changes actually reach your heart cells and do their job. And that is something we will cover in the next video. Do not miss it.